We are nearing the end of 2021, and it has been a huge year for movies, TV shows, streaming platforms, and overall digital entertainment. Now, we need to start focusing on 2022, and here is a list of the 20 biggest movies and TV shows coming out in 2022. Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Cosmic Culture, the channel where we talk about all major movie and television news, theories, breakdowns, and much more. I'm your host Chris, and I know so many different projects and movies are headed our way, and a ton of you guys are already getting extremely excited for them. So let's go ahead and knock out what seems to be the 20 most anticipated movies coming around the corner. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below what you're most excited for, all the good stuff, you know how it goes, and let's jump into the video. This list isn't in any particular order. I haven't gone and selected the best movies in order from number 1 to number 20, so I'm just going to list these movies that have the highest anticipation based off of an IMDb poll. So, the first one on our list is The Batman. Now this film will be coming out, and I think it goes without saying that one of the most iconic characters of all time always generates a lot of excitement. He's been played over and over and over again, and each time he generates a fan base and an excitement that goes without question. Now, The Batman is going to be featuring Robert Pattinson and directed by Matt Reeves, so when this one does roll out, I think we'll be hearing a lot about it. And although I don't think any of these movies are going to reach the generated hype of Spider-Man No Way Home, I think there will certainly be fans who personally will be as excited for this movie. Next, we have Scream. Now this movie is taking place 25 years after the original Scream film, and this has a cult following like none other. Slasher movies is a very intense group of films with a very hardcore fan base. So as this film prepares to come out, the hype is going to be extremely high. Neve Campbell is returning as well as several others, so this one is bound to generate as many screams as it can. Here comes a Marvel selection, which without a doubt always have some of the highest hype and excitement. Most people talk about them. Marvel is without question destroying the box offices regardless of what they're putting out. This one is Thor: Love and Thunder, directed yet again by Taika Waititi, and will be featuring several new characters, including Christian Bale's Gore the God Butcher. Now, this one has a little bit of mystery behind it, as we don't know necessarily all of the plot details or ideas going into this one just yet, but seemingly it will be featuring characters from Guardians of the Galaxy, and Lady Thor will be making an appearance in the MCU for the first time. We're getting Top Gun Maverick. Now this movie's coming late and it will be entering in 2022. This movie was originally set to come out in 2021, but because of the pandemic, it was pushed around over and over again. We've had trailers for this come out a while back, and we're finally going to get the release of Top Gun Maverick, which is going to be the return of Tom Cruise as Maverick, and it is a follow-up to the original Top Gun, which came out in 1986. Of course, that film also has an intense cult following, so this one people are going to be talking about. Hopefully, as far as rebirthing series and franchises go, it won't do too poorly and can be an enjoyable continuation to the franchise. The next one is one I've actually not heard too much about, but it is Leonardo DiCaprio in Killers of the Flower Moon. This is going to be an Apple TV Plus original, so maybe like with Hulu or Amazon or all of these other streaming platforms where they try to create their own movies and shows, it won't get as much hype and it won't be as well heard of. However, on IMDb, you guys all voted that this was one of your most anticipated movies coming in 2022, so maybe there's going to be something exciting to it. It says Killers of the Flower Moon follows the FBI investigation following the murders which involved J. Edgar Hoover. So we'll have to wait and see what this one is all about. However, Leonardo DiCaprio never really does disappoint. The next one, which I personally am extremely excited for, Jurassic World Dominion, the third in the Jurassic World franchise and the sixth in the Jurassic Park franchise. This will be combining the two worlds together, as many members from the Jurassic Park cast will be returning and teaming up with Owen and others from the Jurassic World franchise. Dinosaurs are now running around the entire world as they have left Isla Nublar, and safety is going to be questionable. Should be an extremely exciting film, and the director is on point saying this is not the end, it is the beginning of a new era, so many more dinosaurs will be heading our way after this one releases in 2022. A contender for possibly the biggest movie coming out next year, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. We have seen so many different MCU projects, both movies and Disney Plus shows, where we've had some pretty crazy endings. WandaVision, Loki, Hawkeye, Spider-Man No Way Home, it's all been leading to Multiverse of Madness, the second Doctor Strange film, and the character's sixth appearance in the MCU. Big things are expected to come from this almost horror film, and the first of its kind in the MCU. The next one is another Tom Cruise fan favorite, Mission Impossible 7, which was one of the first movies to start filming again in the pandemic era, and promises to be extremely exciting. It's supposed to be featuring Vanessa Kirby, Frederick Schmidt, Rebecca Ferguson, and many others, as we're expecting to see Mission Impossible 1 through 6 ramped up again in version 7. You guys know the storyline, you know how it goes, and you definitely know what to expect from these insane films. For many who don't know the PlayStation's exclusive game Uncharted, I think this movie featuring Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg in Uncharted is going to be a bit of an underdog. I think people are going to absolutely love this film. It has almost Jungle Cruise vibes where it's going to be a creation of something we already know, and it's a simple classic formula. Treasure hunter, young boy. Tom Holland is definitely one of the most popular actors right now. So we have some opportunity here for a very fun, easygoing, simple formula movie that people are going to enjoy. One of the most important movies for DC is releasing in 2022, and that is The Flash. Now, whether you love The Flash, hate The Flash, or don't care about The Flash, this movie is incredibly important for DC fans. This movie is going to explore the multiverse. It's going to open up the DC universe, exiting away the idea of the DCEU, and really it's DC's last chance to make their cinematic universe exciting and make sense. They've definitely struggled making a continuous universe, even though they've done very well in individual movies, telling origin stories, and creating fun trilogies. The Flash really is their last lifeline to make an exciting cinematic universe, and they're bringing in the big guns for this film, including old actors and characters, bringing them back on the screen, and getting us ready for what seems to be a very wild and important ride. House of Dragon, following the insane audience, cult leadership, love of Game of Thrones, we are getting the prequel spin-off House of Dragon, which will be based on George R.R. Martin's Fire and Blood and tell the story of the Targaryens becoming the leaders and kings in Westeros. This will happen several thousand years before the Iron Throne was forged, and will give us a better idea of everything that led to the Game of Thrones saga. Personally, I was a huge fan of Game of Thrones. I'm curious to see how these spin-offs compare in quality and in hype and fan storyline love. And this spin-off series is actually very important as they have several others in development, and whether or not they get made and how well they get made will base off of how well fans receive House of the Dragon. We next have the Lord of the Rings series. Amazon Studios acquired the rights to this for a ton of money, and there was a lot of mystery around what they were doing. Would they be remaking the Lord of the Rings we already know, or are they trying to do some form of spin-off? Well, the series is set thousands of years before J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, and will take viewers on a journey where great powers were forged, kingdom rose to glory and fell to ruin. The unlikely heroes were tested. This is a huge introduction to Middle-earth and the stories of Lord of the Rings, and hopefully fans will enjoy it just as much as they enjoyed The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings trilogy. We have Pam and Tommy, which you may or may not have heard a lot about. This is going to be starring Lily James and Sebastian Stan. Pam and Tommy is about the very interesting relationship between Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee, and the release of their infamous and unauthorized sex tape. So this movie is going to probably be a gossip story that talks about some pretty crazy actors that everybody knows and love, and a little bit of their personal life. Don't know personally how interested I am in this one, but I know for sure a lot of people will get into this, as you know, Us Magazine, Gossip, online tabloids. They're one of the most viewed news outlets in the world. We're also getting The Sandman. Now this will be based off of the comic book series. The Sandman is telling the story of Morpheus, Dream, the King of Dreams, and one of the seven, Endless. It's supposed to have some pretty dark and horror vibe feel to it, and it's going to be a series on Netflix coming out in 2022. The Last of Us. This is yet another movie based off of a video game, and The Last of Us takes place 20 years after modern civilization has been destroyed. This series follows the specific story of the video game and is meant to be a recreation, showing fans of the game what it would be like to watch one of their favorite games in movie form. Obi-Wan Kenobi, the series. This is probably one of my most anticipated series of 2022, including the Marvel series that will be coming out. Fans have been begging for an Obi-Wan Kenobi series telling the story of what happened to the character between the third and fourth movie, and this is exactly what we're getting. Ewan McGregor will be reprising his role, as well as several other well-known and loved characters like Hayden Christensen in the series. We'll be getting details about what was happening with Obi-Wan. Was he searching for Vader? Was Vader searching for him? We're going to get some more story about Luke and Leia as well. It is going to be a crazy ride, and if it's even a tenth like what The Mandalorian was as far as detail and overall Star Wars feel, we are all going to enjoy ourselves thoroughly when this series comes out in 2022. Speaking of Marvel, we have She-Hulk, a Disney Plus series that does connect directly to the MCU canon, and we'll talk about Tatiana Maslany's character, Jennifer Walters, who will be She-Hulk. This series is set to feature Bruce Banner and is rumored to feature Daredevil as well. So definitely a lot of exciting surprises, but we know how the MCU Disney Plus series go and what exactly they bring to the table. Not one you're gonna want to miss. This continues on, and Ms. Marvel is also on that list. Now, this will tell the story of Kamala Khan, who is a massive fan of the Avengers, much like what we saw with Kate Bishop, and is even more so a fan of Captain Marvel. Now, she is constantly struggling to fit in, and she gains these powers of her own. We're going to be following her story, and Ms. Marvel will be an origin story for the character, which later will connect on to The Marvels, which is a movie set to come out featuring the Marvels and their powers. Then we have another series coming to HBO Max, a DC series called Peacemaker. Now, this will be following the story of the character who we were just introduced to, played by John Cena in Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, and it seems to take place after the events of the Suicide Squad movie. Spoiler alert if for some reason you haven't seen the movie, but it ends with Peacemaker in the hospital, and it looks like the Peacemaker series is going to pick up with him in that same hospital. And to end off our list of the 20 most anticipated projects of 2022, Moon Knight, another MCU project which seems to be the first that will release in 2022 for Marvel, and it follows Oscar Isaac's story as he will be playing Mark Spector, who is Moon Knight. There's a lot of cool different aspects to this that will change it from everything we know about Marvel, including very dark, deep, violent tones that are going to show us the direction that the MCU will be headed into following Multiverse of Madness. Now, like I mentioned before, this list did not come in any particular order, but I am curious which of these you are most excited for. Tell me your top 3, or maybe any that weren't on this list that you cannot wait to come out. I know more stuff is happening. This is just what was on IMDb based off of public opinion and vote. Regardless, a ton of crazy content coming in 2022. Strap in, get excited. We'll be doing live watch parties, updates for all of these series and more right here on the channel. Let me know what you thought, what you're most excited for. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss any of our daily updates right here on Cosmic Culture.